When you have the president saying, yeah, we know, that this is happening. It's no longer a theory or a conspiracy or potential happening. It's happening. Everyone's admitting it. We all know. We all see the prices go up. We all see these issues.
Last week, there was a report by Politico that the administration was studying the impact to energy prices if this pipeline, I think it's called Line 5, would be shut down in Michigan.
The energy secretary says about the cost of Americans heating their homes in the winter, it will be more expensive this year than last year. So why is the administration now considering shutting down the Line 5 pipeline from Canada to Michigan?
So, Peter, that is inaccurate.
He doesn't let her get away with kind of glossing over his comment and saying it's inaccurate because he would take issue with that, saying it wasn't inaccurate.
Is it being studied right now? Is the administration studying the impact of shutting down the Line 5?
Yes, we are. We are.
So then what's inaccurate?
Well, I thought you were saying that we were going to shut it down, but that is not inaccurate.
So just the conversation is happening of, are we going to shut it down? Not... no plans have been made, no guarantees, but it's at least on the table.
This is something that if it was President Trump's press shop, they would say this is fake news. But what we're then seeing is then they end up confirming it many times in the same discussion. So they're not prepared to handle these questions about real policy issues that American people are seeing every day when they go to the gas pump. Yeah. But then they're having to quickly turn, and so they look ill-prepared. They look like they either don't care or they don't know, and that's a problem to show confidence in our administration, in our government.
Again, it seems like a game that we're playing. We didn't talk about it, but we did talk about it. We're not doing it. Maybe we are. It's on the table, but not discussed.
Let's just say, hypothetically, the administration was going to shut down this pipeline. How would they go about doing that? Logan, they would have to comply with a process. That process would start with the Army Corps of Engineers doing a study to assess the economic impact of that. Well, what are they doing? They're doing that study right now.
This policy by the Biden administration, shutting down Pipeline 2, or at least considering that, in the midst of a gasoline crisis, is driven by the dry wood of elites' disdain for the common folk, mixed with the high-octane jet fuel of ideology and moral superiority.
The Secretary of Energy, she was on Bloomberg News just a couple days ago, and was asked about this energy crisis. So this is a cabinet member who's tasked with this. Her entire bureaucracy is built on energy policy of the United States.
In Sturgis, Michigan, it is $2.89 a gallon. I guess that's better than in California. What is the Granholm plan to increase oil production in America?
Oh my God. That is hilarious. Would that I had the magic wand on this.
It's hilarious.
It's so funny.
An energy crisis is funny to our Secretary of Energy, clearly.
It's literally her job to do a couple of things on these very issues. Number one, yes, it's fine to develop alternatives. Logan spoke to this just a minute ago. It's a good thing to proactively seek new sources of energy and constantly be looking to the future. But, Will, she's also has an obligation to recognize what is producing the fuel for our economy today.
Prices climbed last month 6.2%. This affects little people, the average American like you and me. That's the highest increase in 1 month in 30 years. And Biden's own Bureau of Labor Statistics says the biggest part of that increase is oil and gas. That's what's causing, prices to go up. Fuel oil for heating homes in the North and Northeast went up 12.3% in October alone. And whenever he talks about closing down a pipeline, it's not just about the price of gasoline, it's jobs. When he closed down the Keystone Pipeline, over 1 million people were put out of work immediately. There will be more put out if he closes down Line 5.
I know the cost of gas, groceries, and rent seems to be harder and harder to handle.
It seems like the emotion you want out of your president, out of your leader. Things are harder and harder and harder to handle. No kidding. I think people are seeing that everywhere. You're seeing that whether you're the employer trying to find people to work, or you're seeing the employee who doesn't have enough money to be able to pay for the gas or the food to put on their table. And if you are saying that gas, groceries, and rent seem to be hard and hard to handle, those are kind of the three essentials.
I agree with President Biden with that statement that gas, groceries, and rent, the prices and costs seem to be harder and harder to handle. Here's the problem. they're spending all their time focusing on the climate summit in Scotland, or pushing forward a social spending bill that won't address these very issues.
If they're going to focus on a social spending bill that will just bring more dependence on the federal government, rather than recognizing that we've got to both increase production domestically and make sure that our sources to be able to access it through things like pipelines from Canada and even importing it from overseas, they're going to exacerbate the problem.
The American people need help now. They don't need these theoretical social spending plans that, in the words of the Deputy Press Secretary, will transform and be transformative. What they need is an administration that has a policy focused on today.